Today we're going to be learning how to use Formstack. Formstack is a system that we use for handling our applications, our new employee testing, any of our internal forms like incident reports or time off requests or needs and concerns forms. What you're going to be seeing on your screen right now, this is the Formstack dashboard. And after you log in, this is where you're going to go first. Just a reminder, to log in, you go to formstack.com, type in your username, your password, and then click login. And yet again, you're going to end up right here on the dashboard. Now, the dashboard really doesn't contain a lot of useful information for you on a day-to-day aspect. So we're really not going to talk about the dashboard too much. We're kind of just going to move on into forms. And you see where we have dashboard highlighted here. Then we have the word forms where my cursor is at currently, and then portals. Now don't worry about portals. That's something on the admin side. So we're just not going to talk about that at all. We're not even going to pay attention to it. So we're going to focus here on forms. So let's go ahead and click on forms. And once that gets loaded up, you're going to see the forms screen. Now this is the database side of Formstack, and it functions pretty much just like any other database. You ask yourself, what do you want to see? And then you click on the corresponding folder, then the corresponding form. This is meant to be very intuitive, so don't let it be any harder than what it needs to be. What do I want to see? What form do I want? And then just, if I want to look at guard forms, I click on the guard folder, then I click on the corresponding form in the folder for what I was looking for, say an incident report or a voluntary resignation. This is a test account, so you're not really going to see a whole lot in here. And the reason why that I set this up is mainly just for training. We wanted something that didn't have everything in it to be confusing. So we really wanted to streamline down just to make it easy for you in the beginning. Now, after we get done going through the testing account, we are going to click over into the main account and you're going to see everything. So I'll caution you that whenever you're over there, and you're working in the main account and you're seeing everything, there's a lot of things that you can get distracted by or confused by. Don't let it be any more complicated than, what do I want to look at? Go to the folder, go to the form. So let's go ahead and go over here to where it says your folders, and I'm going to highlight that for you. And that's over here on the left underneath the search bar. And we're going to see a folder called testing. So let's go ahead and click on testing. And in testing, we've put up 3 dummy forms. And the dummy forms are an employment request, which is what we call an application, an incident report, and a voluntary resignation. So an incident report is if there's a problem out at a security guard site. A voluntary resignation is if somebody wants to terminate their employment with Patriot Security. And these are just some great examples of very basic forms for pretty much everything that you're going to see. All of these forms have one submission in them, which you can see over here where it says total and unread. You see where we have a 1 and a 1 on each. And we're going to go through and we're going to look at those and get an understanding of what a submission looks like, what is a submission. So here we are in the center. We asked ourselves, what do we want to see? Well, we want to see whatever forms that we have, which happens to be in testing. Then we're going to ask ourselves, well, what form in testing do we want to see? Well, let's say that we want to see an application. So we're going to hover our mouse or our cursor over the word employment request. And then you're going to see 2 new things pop up. One is submissions and one is analytics. Don't worry about analytics. That's on the admin side of the equation. So just ignore that's even there. There's 2 ways to get to submissions. You can either A, click on this word that just popped up, submissions, or you can go over here to total and you can click on total, whichever one's easier for you. For right now, we're just going to go over here, we're going to hover, and we're going to click on submissions. And that's going to pull us inside the database feature of this particular form. And here you're going to have every submission ever that was submitted for the form. Now, we will clean out forms periodically, but in general, we can store a very large number of forms. So you're going to have a lot in here in some of these forms, depending on the traffic and the frequency at which they're used. This is your database dashboard. In here, you're going to be able to customize things a little bit. So right now on this demo form, we have date submitted, name, cell phone number, email, and address. And if you're doing this as a recruiter or as a scheduler or as somebody working the front desk or somebody in HR, this is pretty much all that you need to get in touch with that person and find out, do they want a job? Do they want to change their schedule? Are they going to bring in their uniforms? Whatever it may be. if we go over here to where it says table settings, that's where you can change how this looks. And it's real simple. If you don't want the cell phone in there, you just simply drag it over to the other side. And if you do want something, just find what you want. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to know if they had reliable transportation. You would just drag that over here. Then you go down here to where it says save and click save. And now you're going to notice that these columns have changed. And over here now we have, do you have reliable transportation is one of the questions. And this is meant for you to customize it to whatever fits your needs best. Other things we're going to see in here is this export all button. Now let's assume that you had a lot of submissions that you were looking at and you want to pull them off into Excel and run some filters or change up how the data looks or whatever else to make your particular task easier. You would simply go here to export all, click it, and it's going to ask you, how do you want to receive this information? PDF, Excel, so forth and so on. Don't get caught up in all these other strange file names. It's basically going to boil down to, do you want it in Excel, which is going to be a spreadsheet, or do you want an actual like printer style or photocopy style of the submission of the form, which that would be PDF. So we're going to click Excel for right now, and it's going to ask us, are we sure? And we're going to say yes. And then it's going to export those forms, and then we can download it into an Excel document. And then you would simply download it, open it up, and it's going to pull you right into Excel. Now, if we had more than one form in here, we could go over here to this section and just highlight the forms that we want to export, and then click export over here, and it would only bring the forms that we want into an Excel document for us to download. So it's very simple. Don't let it be too confusing or be anything more than what it is. It's basically just, a couple buttons and asking yourself, where do you want to go and what do you want to do? So now we're going to go into the submission for this form. And here we are. This is the submission window. What you're going to see here is all the data that was recorded in the submission. Yet again, this is an employment request. It's going to ask you, do you want to export just this form? And same thing, PDF, Excel, however you want it. It's going to ask if you want to resend the email notification. So let's say for whatever reason you wanted this back in your email, like you needed the email version of this form. Simply click that and it'll resend it to you. In general, the emailed versions of the form are great. They're a great notification. They're a great quick reference. But nothing is as good as actually coming into Formstack and working in Formstack, because it's just going to give you so much more control and it's going to display the information so much better. So don't rely on the email version of the form too much. It's just meant to be a notification and a quick reference. So here we have the form. We're just going to scroll down and look at all the information that was submitted in the form. And just like what the individual who filled this form out at our website or our Facebook page or what have you, it's going to look the exact same way in here. It's going to say, are you willing to allow us to do a background check? Yes. Please give us your date of birth. Please give us your signature. Nothing really crazy here. Over here on the left-hand side, we run some integrations and some other data processes. You don't have to worry about any of this. If it says success, failure, left, right, up, or down, not your problem at all. Just ignore it. And then we can simply click go back to submissions or close info panel if we want to see the form in a bigger format. Okay. So here I am back in the database section of this form, and let's say I want to go to another form. I have a couple different options. Option one, if I want to stay in the testing folder, I can just simply click testing right here where my cursor is at. If I want to go back to all forms, I can simply click on this forms tab right here, or I could go up and click on any of these up here to take me back to the dashboard or wherever I need to go. We're just going to click on the testing folder because we want to go back to testing. And the next form we're going to look at is the incident report. And remember, we just hover over it and click submissions, or we can go over here to total and click total. And here we have the submissions for our demo or dummy incident report. Yet again, you can change the table settings in table settings. You can export and export all. If you want to export individual forms or just a couple forms, you can click those forms over here and then click export. If you want to go into the forms themselves, just simply click on the form. And here we are in this demo form. So we can see that this is an incident report, and it's asking to answer the following, describe the incident, what happened, bad stuff happened, and so forth and so on. Yet again, this is going to present the data to you the same way the individual who is filling out the form saw it. And again, here you can simply click export, or you can resend out the email notification. And then we're going to go back to testing. And here we are, back in the testing folder. So this is really simple, and it's meant to be just a basic way to understand what all Formstack is. Don't let it be more complicated than what it is. Just simply ask yourself, what am I looking for? Go to that folder, then ask yourself, what form do I need? And then go to that form. So now we're going to go over to the actual live account for Patriot Security, which is going to be right here. And you're going to see there's a lot more folders over on the left-hand side. So we're going to take this very slowly. Now, I have the admin account. So there's going to be a couple things in here that may or may not be in your account, depending on your level of authority and permissions. Because this is going to be a viewed training across multiple different platforms that will be in the public domain, we are not going to go into any one particular form and view the submissions due to privacy laws and privacy concerns. So we will only be brushing the surface of what we collect here at Patriot Security in terms of the live account. But with this knowledge, you'll be more than capable of going in and finding whatever that you need. So, for instance, I'm over here on the left-hand side. I'm over here on the left-hand side, and I want to look at applications. So I'm going to click on Applications. And then I'm going to ask myself, what application do I want to look at? Beaumont, Dallas, Houston, no license, TWIC card, and etc. Then you just simply, just like what we did in the test account, hover over the name, go to Submissions, and then go, or you can go to Total to bring up the submissions. If I was interested in getting some type of guard form or health insurance form or time off request or timesheet or lead sheet, whatever it may be, I would go to the corresponding folder and then click on that. So here we have test recruiting, which are tests that we give to potential candidates who want to get a job here at Patriot Security. So if I was looking for recruiting test, I would simply click on the test/recruiting folder. And then here I have all of the tests that we use for new potential candidates, our armed security test, our communications test, so forth and so on. And yet again, I would go to Total, or I would hover over the name and go to Submissions. So very simple, just like the testing demo account that we were looking at a second ago. And once you click on these, you're going to see the database side, just like what we saw over here. And it's going to display all of the submissions. Yet again, we're not going to go into any of these due to privacy concerns and privacy laws, but it looks the exact same as what we have right here. This concludes our training on Formstack. I hope you found this beneficial, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email us at the corporate office and let us know what you need help with, and have a great day.